Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we will continue with our third unit, which is titled, You've Got Mail. Our lesson today is the first part of the lesson for meaning and function in your books, page 42 and 43. All you need for the lesson today is your books on page 42 and 43, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. So let's get started. The homework that you've got from the writing lesson, which was on page 104. This was the homework, which is exercise P. Complete the chart. Use it to help you write about who you communicate with and how you communicate with them. So we will choose a person and you will tell me how you communicate with this person, whether a friend, family, or a teacher. And then you will tell why would you communicate with them this way rather any other way. Let's start with the first one. For me, I have chosen friends. I communicate with my friends using text messages, or sometimes I use phone calls. I prefer these two. I will justify why I use phone calls or text messages. Maybe I will say, they are easier for me. My phone is always in hand and I will text them or call them the moment I want. Also, it's faster for me. All I need is just to text and send with a click. Also, it's much more convenient. In the middle of the night, I can text them, or if it is early, I can call them. So we can use it this way. Let me come up with another one. Maybe my teachers. How would you communicate with your teachers? With my teachers, maybe I will send them emails. I always send emails to my teachers. Why emails, not text messages or phone calls? Because it is much more formal. The relation is formal, not friends, informal. And I can attach documents. Maybe it's a homework or a project, I can attach it and send it there in an email. As well as that I can write long messages. You can write everything, add pictures, add photos, documents, everything you can write in there. Not just like text messages, which are very short. How about you? Choose a person, maybe family. How would you communicate with them? Then why would you use this rather than any other one? Okay, for our lesson today, by the end of today's lesson, you will be able to form sentences using used to talk about past habits and states. Also, you will be able to form sentences using would to talk about past habits. So, you will be able to use used to and would. Let's go ahead and start in here. I have here a short story for you that we're going to listen to, and based on this story, we're going to analyze it and take it up into the grammar lesson. Okay, I got my first job when I was 12 years old, and I used to have short brown hair. I used to work as a paper boy delivering newspapers to people in my village every morning. That's why I am used to working hard. I used to get up very early to deliver the newspapers to half of the village, while my friend Ben would deliver to the other half. I used to meet the children and people of the village. I didn't used to love working on rainy days. However, today I am used to working under any circumstances. So in here, our friend today, he's talking to us, he's telling us about his first job, how it was, and how is he today. A way of comparing things together. Let's take these one by one. At the beginning, we will compare the use of be used to as we have taken in the previous lesson, which is the language in function, and the used to, which is our lesson today. Let's take the sentences and be used to. I am used to working hard. Also, I am used to working under any circumstances. I am used to meeting new people. And I am used to waking up late. Okay, this one will be waking up late. So, if we're speaking about this, I am used to doing this or using to do that. We are actually speaking about what are the things that I am doing now, in the current moment. Maybe I am used to waking up late. I am used to staying up late or doing something that people are not used to. They will say, how come you're doing this or that thing? Like here, I am used to working hard. I am a hard worker. Other people will say, why would you work hard? How about used to? Examples, I used to have short brown hair. Today, my hair is longer and it is not brown. I used to work as a paper boy. However, today, maybe he's an engineer. I used to get up very early. Today, I wake up early, however, not very early. I used to meet the people of the village. Today, I don't meet them because I live in another place. I didn't used to love working on rainy days. However, today I am used to that thing because it is my life. When we are using used to, we are actually speaking about actions that happened in the past. So it happened and it is all done. I used to have short hair. Nowadays, my hair is long. So used to, about a state or a habit that happened in the past, no longer happening now. Okay, so let's compare between be used to and used to. To compare between these two, to be used to something is to be familiar with something that seems normal or usual. Maybe it is hard work. I am used to working hard. For me, I am used to this thing. Maybe people will say, no, that is too much, that is hard work. For me, I am used to working hard. However, for used to, for past state, habits, and situations, this is important, that are no longer true. They happened in the past and they are all done. They are not happening today. Like, I used to work as a paper boy. In the past, I was a paper boy. Today, I am not a paper boy. I am an engineer or a teacher. So, a state or a situation that happened in the past, today, it's no longer happening. Okay, let's speak about used to. In your books, page 42. Used to. Morse, the inventor of the telegraph system, and we've discussed the telegraph system, used to be a professor at New York University. He used to be, because he died, used to be. Today he's not a professor at New York University. Also, he used to teach arts and design. Used to teach. Today he's not teaching arts or design. He passed away. Also, people used to communicate by telegraph. In the past, people used to communicate by telegraph. How about today? We're having the internet, text messages, calling. We're not using the telegraph anymore. Also, telegraph companies used to dispatch telegraphs by train across the United States. So used to, today we're not using them anymore, no state at all. So which kind of verb do we use after used to? Notice we have be, the base form of the verb. Also, he used to teach, not teaching or teaches, the base form of the verb. Used to communicate and used to dispatch. We're using these, which is the base form, because we're having to. Used to do something. Okay, Now we're having used to. Let's look at this sentence. He used to work as a paper boy. Let's change this one into a question. At the beginning, we will start with a yes/no question. How can we come up? We need a helping verb or an auxiliary verb. So we've got used. We're going to analyze it into the ED will tell us that the helping verb in here is did. And our verb is use. So he did use to work as a paper boy. Change the order and scramble it to form a question. It will be, did he use to work as a paper boy? Notice the use. Did and use. Did he use to work as a paper boy? What do you think? From the picture we can say yes. That yes, he did. He used to be a paper boy. He used to work as a paper boy. Let's ask a question about being a paper boy. Being a paper boy. The yes/no question is, did he use to work as a paper boy? Speaking about a paper boy, the WH question word, the suitable, we're having who, how, what, where, or when. We're having here the question which is about occupation or a job, something, not a person. So instead of this one, we will use what. It is something, so we will use what. So I will add it in here. I will add what into here. Then this is the answer, which is a paper boy. Take it out. And this is the question. What did he use to do? He used to be or he used to work as a paper boy. Okay, another one. Here, he used to have a blue car. The question is, from the ED, we have got did. Did he use to have a blue car? Yes, he used to have a blue car. If we're going to ask about the blue car in here, what is it? We're going to ask a question using what. What did he use to have a blue car? What did he use? We will take it out. What did he use to have? The blue car is the answer. One more in here. They used to play tennis every morning. Let's try to analyze used. We're having the ED here. So past, we will use the helping verb did, and our main verb is use. They did use to play tennis. So the yes/no question, we will just change the order, the inversion. We will say, did they use to play football every week? Do you think it's a football? I don't think so. We will say, no, they don't. They don't use, they didn't use to, no, they didn't use to play football. They used to play tennis. The same in here. Did they use to play tennis every week? Let's speak about every week. Who, how, what, where, or when. The suitable WH question for time, we will use when. So we will use here when. Where can you use the WH question word? It comes at the beginning. So we will put it in here. When did they use to play tennis every week? Can we put the answer? No, we will take it out. So where did they use to play tennis? When did they use to play tennis? Every day? No, it was every week. So always take the WH question word, put it at the beginning, then take out the answer with the yes/no question. Okay, now in your books, page 105, exercise O. Read the information, complete the conversation with used to or didn't use to. Let's read it together. How technology has changed communication. We're now using like telegraph in the past. The 1970s and 1980s, people sent letters and cards through the mail. Students often passed handwritten notes in class. They would write it by their hands. People used pay phones on the street. However, in the 1990s, people started using cell phones. People started sending emails, and people sent e-cards over the internet. These are the changes that happened all over the years. Now let's complete the conversation in here, and you will come up with the question. Fahad used to check his email all the time, even when he was on vacation. Let's try to come up with the question we're having here, used. So I will say, did Fahad used to check his email all the time? What do you think? I guess he used to check his email all the time. Yes, even if he was on vacation. We have used did and use instead of used. Yes, people used to leave messages on telephone answering machines. Let's ask a yes/no question. We're having here we're having, did people use, here we will have used. Did people use to leave messages on answering machines, on the telephone answering machines? Yes, people used to leave messages on the telephone answering machines. No, they didn't. Students used to write on chalkboards. Here we're having the ed, so we want something that is, the answer will be no, not chalkboard. We will say, did students use to write on tablets? Do they have tablets or notebooks? We will say, no, they didn't use to write on tablets. They used to write on chalkboards. No, I didn't. I used to stay up really late every night. Also, here we're having used, so we're having did. We want something that the answer will be no. Did you use to go to bed early? The opposite of late is early. No, I didn't use to go to bed early. I used to stay up really late every night. So based on the answer, you will come up with the question. You will change the sentence into a question. Here we're having Umar and his friend Yahya. Did you know that that on special holiday days people send cards through the mail and not over the internet? So let's use send. Did they used to send? They used to send them. In the past, they used to send cards instead of the internet. Yahya, yes, I did. And a lot of families have a whole drawer full of envelopes and stamps so that they didn't have to keep going to the post office. Let's use have. Used to, or did they use to? They used to have. They have in a drawer full of stamps, so they will use it instead of going out. Umar, I know. Before the 90s, most people not have cell phones. So we will use in here, they didn't use to have. So here, they didn't use to have cell phones. People use pay phones on the street. So positive, they used to use pay phones on the street. They probably carry a lot of cash or change in their pockets to make those calls. They used to carry. So they used to carry lots of cash. They don't have credit and they have to pay for the phone. Okay, now we will compare between used to and would. We will compare between them. Here we're having the sentences. I used to work as a paper boy. I used to wake up early. And also, I used to be a nice boy, and I used to have a short brown hair. In these sentences, we're speaking about the action that happened when it happened actually in the past. No longer happening. They are no longer happening. How about would? Let's change these sentences into would. We will say, I would work as a paper boy. Also, I would wake up early. However, in here, I was a nice boy and I had short brown hair. These as well, all of them happened in the past and no longer happening. However, with would, we will use something that is an action, not a state describing a person. It is an action. So, used to and would. We use used to for past states, habits, situations are no longer true. 3. A state, situation, as well as a habit. How about would? They're having the same meaning, similar. Here, we will say, in place of used to for the past habits, but we can't use them for past states. So an action or a habit in the past, I used to be a paper boy. And we will say as well as, I would be a paper boy. Here, I would work as a paper boy and I had brown hair, because it is a state or a description of a person. You can never use would instead. Okay, so these they are. So we use to and would. For used to, it will be followed by a verb. We're speaking about past habits and states, actions in the past and states, and we will use it with didn't, use to plus the verb, and I used to have, like I used to have a brown car. How about would? If we were comparing in here, would plus the verb, I would do. Also, it will be only about the past habits, things I used to do in the past. Also, would not do something, and also would wake, like the example, I would wake up early, not would have short brown hair. So, for used to in your books in here, in ancient times, people would shout messages to the next tower in order to pass information through the area. Also, people used to have very powerful voices in those days. We can change this would into used to. They did something. However, for the other one, we can't change. Let's choose the correct answer in here. I used to or would have short hair, a state in the past. So it is only used to. You can't use, it's not an action, you can't use would. My father used or would read me a story before I went to sleep. It will be would because we need used to. Ahmed didn't use to or would not have a black hair. It is actually a state, so he didn't use to have the hair. Let's try to notice them. After used to, we will use the base form of the verb, like live, like. Also, after would, we will use the base form of the verb. Noura used to have long hair. There used to be a supermarket in here. And my dad would read me amazing stories every night. All of them will be followed by the base form of the verb. Now we're having here an exercise which is complete the paragraph with the correct verb. In parentheses, whether used to, would, or didn't use to. My grandparents often tell me that life before the internet was very different to how it is nowadays. When my grandfather was young, he had a computer, laptop, or tablet. What do you think? Not. Didn't use to have. Or a cell phone. He told me that in those days, people speak to people on the phone. What would they do? Used to or would speak to people on the phone. And that was fixed on the wall. People use their phones to take digital images. Were they able to take digital images? Didn't use to use their phones for digital images. They take photos with a camera. They used to take or would take photos with a camera that needed a special roll film. They used to print or would print the photos on a special kind of paper and put them in a photo album. For your homework, I want you to refer to your books on page 105. Page 105 in your books. Exercise P. You will complete using whether would or used to. Okay? I guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.